What's up, you guys? It's your girl Tough Cookie Tea, also known as Toby. I am coming back to you with another video. So make sure that you get into it. You know, you like, comment, and you subscribe.
Never said a word, your body tell me all about it. I'm the one that you prefer, your actions tell me all about it. Nobody do it like me, cause you tell me all about it. Swear no one else excites me, I would tell you all. I like the simple things that your love will bring, but you constantly reject the fun.
Okay, so I want to start a series called Made in Foster Care. So similar to like Made in Chelsea, but made in foster care, right? I feel like there isn't many people who talk about their experience being a care leaver, and I definitely want to do that. So let's get into it, shall we? All right. So the first thing that I want to get out there is that I went to roughly 15 to 18 different foster homes in my life, and I would say it's been pretty traumatic, and some of the things that I've had to go through haven't been great, but in the same instance I've learned how to be quite self-sufficient through that, and I've managed to, you know, learn a lot of skills that I know that other people that are in wheelchairs don't. They may be older than me, and they themselves still haven't really grasped the concept of living alone, or trying to like get certain things for themselves. So I started living on my own at the age of 17, and I'm now 27. So when I started living on my own, I wasn't in this particular place. I was in a sort of like a halfway house, and that halfway house, honestly, really, I feel, wasn't the safest for me. But we'll get back into that. I think what I want to do is probably leave that towards the end of the series. Let's start from the beginning and how I ended up in care in the first place. So I ended up in foster care because my foster parents, sorry, beg your pardon, I ended up in foster care because my mum, she had her own mental health issues, and then on top of that I had my disability. And so essentially what happened was they took me away from my mother purely on the basis that they thought that she was abusing me and hurting me. So I essentially ended up in care, and that's because I've got something called brittle bones, also known as osteogenesis imperfecta type 3, which means I break bones really, really easily. And so originally, which used to happen back in the 90s and before then, people would, in fact it still happens now, it's on one of the series in Holby City, addressed the issue that because my disability is a rare disability, often the parents get blamed for abusing the children. So anyway, I ended up in care, and with that I have pretty much been in care all the way up to about 17 years old. And I think I had good times and I had bad times, and that's understandable. Moving into different people's homes, if you just think about it, like, you know how crazy people are out there. Some foster homes were perfectly fine, but others were just a bit like, oh my god. And that's why you find a lot of young people run away from their foster homes. Unfortunately, I can't do that because I'm in a wheelchair, so I have to just stick with it. I have to stay there. I don't have a choice. And majority of the foster homes that I went into were not people of colour. They were not from the same background as me. And to be fair, at the time I never really thought that that was really an issue. But growing now I'm an old, you know, I'm older now. I have learned that a lot of the things that went on when I was in care should never have happened, and also a lot of the things that people got away with back then, I don't think happens as much now, which is good, but I know that there's still lots to be done, because the transition between being in care and leaving foster care is really, really bad, especially when you're disabled, purely on the basis that it's so rocky. Like, they don't set you up, in my opinion, again, this is all my opinion, I don't think that they set you up the best way. You are still traumatized by the whole experience. I certainly was. Without giving away too much, let's get on to that, actually. So I've written down some of the things that I have basically gone through. So currently I am dealing with something called high functioning depression and agoraphobia. So both of those things. So when I say I have high functioning depression, it's kind of like I'll be okay and everyone else thinks I'm normal and I'm fine, and I am. But then there will be times where suddenly I'll get really, really depressed. So I can, I get up in the morning, I do my normal routine, blah, blah, blah. I do all of that, and then all of a sudden something might set it off, and it may be like a moment of PTSD as such. Like, I suddenly remember something that happened when I was in care or something like that, and then it kind of sets me back and it makes me depressed, and then I just don't leave the house for a long time. So that's something that a lot of people don't take into consideration. And also, just being on social media is a lot is expected of you, and you put a lot of pressure on yourself. So that as well, with the combination of me being a care leaver, is quite a difficult thing to kind of juggle. And I don't think, I've never heard of specialist care for care leavers, like specialist therapy for care leavers. Once you're out there, you're out there, and it's kind of like, well, you're not in it anymore, so forget about it. And I've been told that by so many people, by so many social workers and stuff like that, well, you're not in care anymore, so get over it. Now, a lot of people would say, like, oh, why would you need this series? And the main reason I want to make this series is purely on the basis that, as I said, not a lot of people really talk about it, and especially from the perspective of a care leaver that is in a wheelchair, and that is a person of colour, and that's a woman. So there's so many things, so many points that I can really hit, and I really want to talk about. So going back to the things that I've walked away from in terms of, and what I have to live with now, is that high functioning depression. And a lot of care leavers, I believe, have it, even though they may not know they have it. But it's where we are perfectly fine, we blend into society okay, and then we just have those moments where we can't cope. And obviously a lot of people have it, but it's even more heightened when you are a care leaver. I think if I can, I'll put up what high functioning depression is, or in the description below I'll put a link to a video that explains what high functioning depression is. I also have agoraphobia, I think that's how you say it, but I can't be sure. But it basically means some days I literally can't go outside, and I'll be in the house for 2 weeks, a week, and it's purely on the basis that I feel stuck in time. I get overwhelmed with so much stuff, and I don't want to deal with the outside world. Even talking about it, just it's scary sometimes. I'm very confident, but it is scary at times leaving the house and having to deal with the stares and people looking at you, and people just having a comment on who you are. It's just a lot. Even taking transport and things like that, it's just a lot of stuff that you deal with. And disabled people deal with that anyway, but it's even more heightened again when you've come from foster care, because you don't have that reinforcement from family members that everything's going to be okay, you can do it, don't worry. And yeah, so it's just a bit of a nightmare at times, trying to deal with people outside of your four walls in your home. And I sometimes literally feel stuck on my bed, like I can't move. Even to go to the toilet is a struggle, not just because I'm in pain or something, but literally my mental health is like, you know, stuck in one place. And I just wonder how many other people who've been in care feel the same way, that sometimes, especially if like they spend time with their friends and they go to their friend's house or something like that, that can trigger it. Because their friends have family and stuff like that. You come home and you're on your own again, and it can just like make you freeze. Like you literally can't, like you don't know what to do. You freeze. You can't move. You don't want to leave the house. And leaving the house takes a lot of courage. Like I swear to you, sometimes even just getting dressed, I have to brace myself to get up, get dressed. I get such anxiety, even talking about it, it's making me shaky and stuff. Like it does freak me out, but I try my best to push myself. And I think university really helped me overcome that, because I had to wake up very early in the morning and go to uni and have the stares and people not be very nice to me at, you know, in my actual classes. Dancers, no names, but the dancers in my uni, they're not the nicest of people. I feel like in this world, if you make a mistake, especially me, because I'm very outspoken, when I make a mistake, people do hold it against me, and there's no one really to stick up for me, which is often the case with care leavers. There's not like a family member that can kind of tell them back off, leave them alone or whatever. So I'm the one that sticks up for me. I'm the auntie, the uncle, the grandma, the grandpa, the everything, all in one person. And it can be quite a lot because I deal with everyday life struggles, on top of having to defend myself to many different people, having to prove myself, having to prove myself to myself, if that makes sense, like, and just really push myself to go further than I've ever experienced or been told that I can. So I think possibly in my next series, episode, for this series, I want to talk about how being in foster care and being disabled really affects you, in terms of if there's any equipment that's put in place when you do go to these foster homes, and what it's like when you move from foster home to foster home. Do they give you a suitcase? Does someone come with you? What that whole experience is like, because often, people don't talk about it. So yeah, I'm going to talk about all of that stuff. I hope you're interested in it. Obviously, these particular videos are a particular niche, and they may not be for everyone. It might be too depressing for you, or it might be a bit triggering. So I am really, really sorry if it is triggering. I just thought that I would talk about it because I wanted to get it off my chest. And I do feel sometimes like, not always, but I do feel kind of bound to it. And also, no other disabled person really talks about it, even though there are quite a lot of, especially people of colour, who end up in foster care because of their disability. Like, I was in care with people who were deaf. They were twins, actually. And just seeing them, that was the first time I was ever in foster care at the same time with someone else who was also disabled. And it made me so happy at the time. I was so happy because I felt like I wasn't alone. But yeah, anyway, I hope that you liked this video. I just really wanted to put that out there for you guys. I could make videos all day long for you, so just let me know. Make sure you like, comment and subscribe. I'm sorry this one is a bit longer. I hope you like it. Take care. God bless. Bye.
That you prefer, your actions tell me all about it. Nobody